please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a delve into Zzzzombrocoli, the wife of Anissa Joma, because the lolcow status of Mr. Stoic is fully blossoming, and I'm thoroughly enjoying watching it unfold in real time. I know he had recently taken an autism test, but since Stoic Chronicles only clipped that very recently, we're instead going to go and look at him obsessively yet again talking about Ethan while trying to remain aloof or maintain a personality even, of aloofness or disinterest, like a quality little midget hipster.
Pedro Troll? Yeah, we got a Pedro Troll little update at one point. It's not a big update, it's just one of those things where he'll obviously have a thought. In the middle of the night, he'll have a thought about me or Anissa or many other people, and he has to voice it, you know?
As you can tell, he is highly, deeply invested in everything everyone says about him or his wife. The flippant nature and dismissive attitude and bored sound does him no favours in this. I can say with experience, by the way, Ian, if you ever hear this, bored voices don't get you very far. Being English, it's a bit of a given, so please stop culturally appropriating my superiority. Thank you.
You know, some thoughts are inside thoughts, some thoughts are thoughts for the group, but other thoughts, they just need to go in your story.
Typically, these thoughts are called intrusive thoughts, right? But that's entirely subjective as to the nature of the person who's posted and the person who sees it. So whereas a vast majority of people will see something negative towards Ian and just go, eh, Ian will see it, roll his eyes and go, nah, that's intrusive, without trying to say it because apparently he doesn't know the term.
It's really been like making me excited to do D&D. I watched Big Bang Theory update.
Bazinga.
Last episode, they were playing like a Santa or a Christmas version of D&D where they were like killing Santa or some shit. And, well, truthfully, they did a campaign. Eventually, they found Santa Claus, who was like...
There are going to be many people who have seen the Big Bang Theory, hated the Big Bang Theory, loved the Big Bang Theory, loved and hated also D&D. I don't care. I'm instead going to skip ahead so we can find the part where he has commentary that's relevant to Ethan Klein.
Am I a husk now? So the advice is basically don't listen to advice, work it out for yourself? No. It's just hard to suss through what good advice is. Because with the alleged Hank Green advice of like, you should have started 4 years ago or some shit like that. Not that he said that. Is more like, you know, it doesn't really speak to someone's soul.
Okay, I saw this in passing while sifting through the video. Firstly, there's no such thing as a soul. You're welcome. Second, how one sifts through what is or is not and determines what then becomes good or bad advice is entirely subjective on the individual. You're trying to latch onto emotive or humanity as a way of saying that only your values are the right values in the context of sifting through good and bad advice. How incredibly tragic and lacking in all critical thinking.
Also, okay, here's some more advice. Therapy. Because therapy, it does so much more than like, I'm feeling sad. It literally is, it improves every measurable aspect of your life, or not even measurable aspect.
Therapy does help people. That's the point of it. It is supposed to help you on your path towards improvement. The reasons for being in therapy in the first place, though, are important, and making sure there are enough people that can afford it, or those that offer the service, is another aspect entirely. Not all of us have gone through making as much money as you had at one point, and then lost it. I wonder if you'll get like a boogie moment situation type deal, where everyone finds out just how much money you had at one point and threw away because of ideals that your husband-wife told you to obey.
Let me set this up. I genuinely don't like... I want to pretend that this guy doesn't exist, to be honest. But he frequently will say this phrase very frequently. This is Ethan Klein, by the way. I don't want to obscure it.
As if it wasn't apparent to all of us when you're on, I think, Reddit. Using Reddit to cite things to own the person you claim to not want to talk about but need to talk about to generate additional interest so that you can keep this gravy train going is like citing the dying Wikipedia for academic purposes.
Ethan Klein, he loves saying that people are accusing him of hallucinating anti-Semitism. And it's like, well, I never thought that. But the more I see shit like this, the more I'm like, wait a minute. Like, you can't just watch a baseball game without thinking anti-Semitic thoughts, Ethan Klein.
I'm not going to lie, I had to Google this person, Enrique Hernandez, the baseball player that is. I will admit, it's a weaker one from Ethan, but then based on half the stuff they've done supporting Palestine, I'm not surprised Ethan has done this given opportunity. Don't forget here, Ian and Nisa, you took a side. You took a side, and you're on the wrong side of history, I might add, and look like absolute tools in the process. That's hardly going to change because of your stance. You were, after all, the guy with the swastika sword in his hands, kneeling in front of, I believe, Hassan, surrounded by his orbiters.
Like, can you just enjoy baseball and not make people's names into slurs, you fucking weirdo?
You are forgetting, Ian, yet again. Ethan Klein has said he is going to go after for the rest of your time on the internet. He is not going to stop because of what you and your wife did to him. Don't be surprised when these are thrown at you. And since I don't know how to pronounce the first word without it seeming like a slur, which could get me in trouble with YouTube, I'm just going to use the name Enrique. But if you want to tell me the pronunciation in the comments of his nickname, do let me know. But if it's the same as the slur, don't bother. Just tell me, by the way, it's pronounced the same way as the slur.
Yeah, it's so blatant. It's weird.
Is it more or less weird than betraying your friend, his wife, throwing them under the bus, condoning doxing, condoning swatting, condoning CPS, justifying all of it because your wife told you to change ideology, belief system? Because I would argue this is just a way of goading you, which has worked, by the way, because you're now addressing it on a stream, which means free content for the H3 podcast. As if they haven't had enough to deal with this week with Cruel World Happy Mind's absolutely moronic take. Response of which, when they sat with Ethan Klein, I say sat with, via a call, I'm going to go through the entire stream from the H3 podcast over on Rumble tomorrow as a exclusive. If you're interested, join us. If you have premium, I have to do 5 hours of that a month. Yes.
It's like, it's Kike Hernandez? Yeah. All right, dude. This was one to stay in the drafts. No reason to post it.
First, thank you for the pronunciation because I didn't know for certain. Especially when I googled it, it just gave me the word as the slur. But thank you, Google, for failing me. Second, I've already given you the reason why you betrayed Klein. He will never let you or your husband-wife go. And for as long as you go to Reddit to get this information, you are as much a part of the problem when it comes to giving this fuel as Ethan is for putting it out there in the first place. Eventually, you have to choose whether to ignore it entirely or not. Be what you can never be, the bigger man. Since that will never happen because of who you are, you have to accept the reality that you are a part of this problem.
You could ask your wife, hey, does this make sense for me to post? Oh, maybe not your wife. Maybe ask, I don't know, maybe text Dan and be like, hey, is this epic and funny? It's not? Oh, okay. It makes me look like a weirdo? Oh, okay, I get it. I'll leave it in the drafts then. Maybe I'll be inspired later. Maybe there will be a way to make it funny later. Every accusation is a confession from him. That's what I'm saying. It's so strange. Get back in the drafts, Mr. Klein. That's it. Just more fucking hallucinations. You don't even want to necessarily call it a hallucination. It's literally an obsession. Like, he's obsessed with slurs. He's obsessed with, trying to frame himself as a victim in some kind of way.
What's really impressive to me about what you are presenting as information is that you like to champion yourself as somebody that doesn't get too involved in things, or doesn't look at this, yet simultaneously you apparently are a font of it. You've taken in so much, you can assert so much because you've taken in so much. Yet you don't want him, Ethan, to comment on you. You're trying to gatekeep what he should or should not say to you, argue that perhaps you should be left on your own, yet when you're on your own, you're on Reddit. Grow up. Or doing what your husband, wife, tells you to do. This all reeks of, please sir, can I have some more?
No, you're not a victim. You're a perp. Because the thing is, no one's asking this guy for this content. He literally fashioned that himself in his brain.
You do realize he's at the stage in his career where he doesn't have to really do what his audience tells them, right? Also, they pretty much still watch him because he does what he wants. And because bashing you, and many others, again, Cruel World Happy Mime is a great example of it, is remarkably amusing. Although, unlike you, at least Cruel World Happy Mind had the balls to sit down and have a conversation, even if it was over the phone, or Discord, or Skype, Mumble, whatever really, vent, I don't really care where they spoke. They did. You're too much of a bitch to do it. You'd find so much resolved, and so much ground covered, you might well find that with that ground covered, the amount of effort spent just mocking you quietly from the side would dissipate a little. But I guess that comes down to whether or not your wife, husband, wife, whatever they are, gives you permission to take the strap-on out of your arse long enough to do so. Have a conversation, that is.
Maybe it's hard, right? Because, like, I think a lot of this and I said it in my content cop, right? Like, a lot of this is coming directly from his Reddit. Like, you're not a fan of mine if you're just posting like a bunch of hate that I'm getting.
I was wondering how long it would take for him to mention the content cop he's done, which is still doing quite well. 7.4 million views, just about majority likes, although when you have hundreds of thousands of downvotes, is it really a success? Someone in the comments of that even pointed towards Ethan's content nuke on Hassan only having half the views. I would argue, based on the like to dislike and the reach of Klein's content, he's done quite well. Also, he doesn't really have to, unlike Ian, make these kind of views. He really doesn't. He has no need to do that these days. But he was right to make the content nuke on Hassan, regardless of what people think of him in my comments, whether you like him or not. These videos have to exist in the same way Idubbzz's content comp had to happen as well, because then it shows the kind of people these creators are. Whether you agree or disagree, that's up to you. Generally, I think Ian's content cop was shite, quite frankly. It really was. And it showed, with the friendship we knew that existed before, where the line in the sand for him really existed. And that the friendship was not real, and that he, like every other creator, majority anyway, at least 99%, is nothing more than a snake that follows whatever trend is good enough to pay his bills. Recession must have hit him pretty hard. Well, recession being from his own content being crap, says the guy whose channel was dying anyway.
Or posting things that are like going to like trigger me or get me like, I don't know, stuck on a topic. I don't like that.
Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. Whether it triggers you or not, bothering you at the same time, is irrelevant to you anyway. In the context of those that seek to trigger you, it's the best thing ever. Why? Because you're Ian. At one point, you yourself were quite an accomplished troll type. To see you unable or incapable of taking some of the very banter you used to dish out on a regular is hilarious.
Like, I wouldn't like if my entire subreddit was basically just talking about Pedro troll. It's not good for you. Capri khaki sweat cargo all pants. Fuck. Make it big.
Quit being mean to me on Instagram.
Yes, well, as is well established within the internet rules, it is quite common for the internet itself to suddenly decide upon being told to stop being mean to you, to stop being mean to you. I feel like you're setting yourself up to be further ridiculed. I'm okay with it. Why? Because it's the internet. Everyone gets picked on by someone at some point. Some more than others, mostly because they deserve it. Like yourselves.
I don't know if that's gonna work. Maybe that'll work. Yeah. You needed to furrow your brow a little bit more. Yeah, that's the move. That's intimidation.
Well, you've certainly told Ethan Klein to stop. Congratulations. You did so well. I couldn't be more proud of you, honestly. Couldn't be more astonished by the level of fear you have instilled upon all the plebs in all the land. Now, anyway, with all the subjects we cover on this channel, I'd love to know what you're thinking. Do let me know in the comments down below. If I don't see you on Twitch, Kick, Rumble, or here later, have a great day and weekend, of course, and thank you all very much for listening.